Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to talk about the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And first of all, I just want to say I don't think this will ever be replicated by any media genre ever again. Having so many different types of movies coming out and then they all connect together, I just don't see that anybody will be able to ever do this again. DC has a shot with the new Superman reboot, but they also kind of it doesn't seem like they're going to include like Batman in it and like the kind of like Justice League, I guess, type people. But that's not what it's about today. It's about the MCU, and the way they did this was beautiful. Beautiful. They set up Iron Man, the first movie, and they knew exactly where they wanted to go with this. They knew exactly where they wanted to go. They wanted it to be the Avengers. They wanted the Avengers to meet up, and then after the Avengers, they'd figure that out, and then figure out, and then they started planning and planning ahead, figuring so much other things out, and it just ties all together beautifully to make this amazing story that pays off at the end. Because a lot of these, and even Netflix shows now, you watch and watch and watch these shows, and the ending never pays off. But with Marvel, you watch these 2 hour long movies, like 20, 30, 40 of them. I'm not exactly for sure how many. You watch all these movies, and it pays off. It has the best payoff you can ask for, really, with all of these characters coming in the same movie, getting a good amount of screen time, and just seeing them all come together at the end. It's just beautiful at the end of the day. So first of all, I want to talk off with the first movie that started off is Iron Man. Beautiful movie, and I do think Marvel peaked with their singular movies here. Obviously not Infinity War. I think Infinity War is better than the original Iron Man, just by a little bit. It's not too far off, but Infinity War just has so much more backing it. It has so much more back support. That's why I think Infinity War is so much better. It's better. It's just better. It's not too much better. It's just better. But Iron Man, you start this off with an amazing movie. Amazing. He didn't tell a backstory to Tony Stark. He didn't say all these things. But it's just so good to watch because you know the type of guy he is throughout the movie. You just know he's so well portrayed by Robert Downey Jr. He's so well portrayed. He is the character. He plays Iron Man perfectly, and I don't think anybody's arguing against that. And that first movie that started off is the perfect casting there because that's the movie that you want to be good. You need that movie to hit all the marks, tick all the boxes. So hey, boom, we got something going here. And I think that's what Iron Man does so perfectly. Because, one, it sets up a good backstory to Iron Man. Why he does it, why he's doing these things, why he's trying to do good. And I like how Iron Man isn't just straight up good. I do like that about Iron Man. I think that's very interesting about him. He's kind of self-centered sometimes. And that's also, not every hero is like Captain America and Superman, who always put everybody in front of them first and always try to be the best person they can and just try to make the world a better place. Sometimes you have heroes like Iron Man who's just kind of trying to do good. He's seen all these bad things that have happened that he's kind of caused, and he wants to be okay, I've done all these bad things. It's time for me to start doing good. And then him being Iron Man is that. And that is a perfect, again, that's kind of what Marvel is trying, the lesson kind of at the end of the day is just be a good person. Try to do, even though you're not wearing the cape, just try to do your best in the world. Anyway, this movie is a perfect start to the MCU. It is. I don't think anybody really, obviously there can always be better. Nothing's perfect in this world. But this is just about as perfect as you can get. You have a really, really good movie. Somebody who starts on top, hits rock bottom, fights his way out of the cave, and then figures it out. Literally just figures it out, beats the bad guys, and then it's able to get home, fights the big boss, the bad guy in this business. It's just a really good movie at the end of the day. And then I think Hulk, the Incredible Hulk comes next. It's either this or the Thor movie. I'm not really for sure. But the next movie I want to talk about is Captain America, the First Adventure. Again, another just great movie at the end of the day. It kind of follows the same format as Iron Man. It's kind of the same format, except Cap is he starts off as a small guy, then he slowly earns his respect in the army, and then he's able to become this big, powerful being who's first as a mascot, but then is able to kind of actually prove to everybody, hey, I'm willing to do these things. I'm willing to put myself out there, willing to be the person to protect this country. And I really like that. And at the end of the Incredible Hulk movie, they tie in Iron Man at the end of that. And I mean, nothing, that was another thing. Like, they wanted this to go somewhere. That's what I meant to say. Like, they wanted these things to go somewhere. And the same thing with Captain America, the First Avenger. Again, they just wanted these movies to go somewhere. It looks more on the past. You see Tony Stark's dad, how he was acting, like what he was doing back in the day. And you kind of connect these dots with these universe, and it does a really good job. And I really like that. And I really like how Nick Fury's also like into most of these movies, just saying we're forming this team. It's just really, really good how they just started this off. Like I don't think that you could really start off a universe much better. And I'm going to talk about Superman a little bit here for a second, because I don't think the DCU, I think that's what it is, it's DC Studios, whatever they're calling it now, did a very good job at starting off their universe with this good movie, with this first movie. Superman, very, very good movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. But with a universe, you want to tie in some other characters that really weren't in the movie, I guess. Like, I mean, all the characters, like, you had the Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, I can't remember his name, the guy with the black mask, all really good characters. They didn't really get a ton of screen time, but the screen time they did was really good. And that's kind of like the problem I have with, because sometimes you want to like bring in this force from outside, like you don't know what's really going to go on with him, but you know it's coming, you know he's in this universe, like Batman or something like that. Like, I think they should have kind of tied in another character who wasn't really part of the movie, kind of threw him at the end a little bit. Well, that's all I have to say. Just kind of like tie it in, like when you're rewatching these movies, it's going to be good to watch, you know what I mean? And the next thing I want to talk about is just the Avengers movie. I'm kind of skipping around everywhere, but like it's just kind of talking about this kind of as a whole. But anyway, I want to talk about the Avengers movies. And the first Avengers movie is a good movie. It is a good movie. It's not the perfect movie. It is better than Age of Ultron, that's for sure. But it's probably the second best Avengers movie. I'm going to be straight up honest. But it was so good. Loki is the perfect villain. Perfect casting too. And they had to like come together. And that's another, like, I just really like the first Avengers movie. It just does so many things well. The action scenes are so good. The team not really fitting together at first. And then they just kind of like force themselves like, hey, we need to do this because even though we don't really get along, we need to do this for our country to make them better. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic that the DC EU didn't do very well. The DC Extended Universe didn't do well at all. Like, they always were trying to push that narrative like, hey, the team never got together. And heck, the team started fighting against each other, which Marvel did. But they did it so much better than the DCEU, like 10 times better. And also in Marvel, you don't have a character like Superman, which, and again, I need to stop talking about this. We're talking about Marvel today. But Avengers, again, is the perfect way to be like, hey, this is what we did. We built all these movies up together to boom, put this together. And it just works out so well. Because you already have these backstories. You already have like the ground built for these, like a very strong rooted ground, and now you're trying to let the tree blossom, and it just works out perfect. And then I'm just going to kind of go to the Avengers movies now, and then kind of like sprinkle in the other movies that I kind of remember that went on between these. So then Age of Ultron comes around. Very weak movie. Very weak. Was not my favorite movie, not by a long shot. And I'm not exactly for sure what movies kind of went on between this and this phase. I'm sorry. But this movie was just weak. And I do think the movies that were between this, like you had Captain America, The Winter Soldier. Like you had really, really strong movies in between this movie. But then the movie just didn't pay off as much as you would want it to. Ultron's not a bad villain. Like, he's not a bad idea. Just the character's fighting all the time. And I do think it was kind of a bad way to introduce Wanda. I think Wanda, it's not a bad idea to introduce her as like, I think her story is really impactful, really, really helps the character and really builds the character up. I think that is very powerful. But the fact that she sides with like Ultron so quickly, that's kind of hurts her as well. And then it kind of like hurts the movie itself at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Again, I haven't watched these movies in a while. I should have probably done a rewatch of the whole DCU or the whole MCU, but we aren't doing that today. We don't got time for that. But anyway, it's a fine movie. It just wasn't as strong as the first Avengers. And then you get to Infinity War. You had banger movie, 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 banger movie. You had these just phenomenal movies coming out. One after another. That built up to this perfect, like legitimately, like perfect movie. You had, and again, you could also argue that Captain America Civil War, which is probably my favorite, personally, my favorite movie from the MCU, you had that movie in between this. And it's arguably like another kind of Avengers movie. And you had that in between this, boom. You have all these great movies, you had all these great characters built up, boom, 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 boom. For Infinity War. Infinity War encapsulates everything Marvel was trying to do, trying to push, trying to like grow this tree. I'm going to keep that narrative. Boom. It just hits every single mark. You have all these characters getting good amount of screen time, showing off what they are doing, and you have it just works out so well. And Thanos' plan also works out really, really well. And you really see like how in like the first scene of the movie is Thanos fighting Loki and Hulk, and he's like not even struggling. Like he's just beating him with ease. He's beating the Hulk with strength, with ease, without like really any stones. He might have had the Power Stone. That might be wrong, but he just kind of beats up the Hulk kind of with ease. Like he's just like boom, boom, and the Hulk's punching him, and then he's like, hey, just let him have a little bit of fun. He's just roughhousing a little bit, and you realize, oh crap. This is why Thanos has all these like really, really powerful cast members, like people there around him, and how he's just smart. And honestly, you're like, his motive isn't like the most, doesn't have a pointless just evilness to it. That's what makes it, like, let's talk about the first Iron Man movie. The first Iron Man movie, he just wanted to take over the business. Just a truly evil part who, because he didn't agree with Tony Stark's not wanting to kill people, that's what his motive was, because he just wanted to make more and more money. That is just straight up evil. Like there's really nothing much else to that. Like what? Why? Like it's just kind of like something that's like kind of makes you mad, you know? Like okay, well he's not a bad villain, but he's just like you'd rather have like the one army where Tony Stark's fighting first. That's a better villain because they really don't really have a backstory. Whatever. But then you hit to Infinity War, and you're like, Thanos was from a planet. Like, you see where he comes from, where his planet could have been saved because, hey, we could have killed some people, and we could have had more crops to grow. And he's gone to these other planets who are struggling to survive, killed half of them, and then now they're thriving. They're actually doing much, much better because of it. And he's just like going to snap his fingers so we can just do it once, get it over with. And just because some populations aren't struggling, cutting off half of them would just be easier for him and just save a lot of lives. So you're like, well, his ideas aren't necessarily horrible. Like, he's not trying exactly to do a bad thing. He's just doing the best thing that he thinks. And it's not exactly a bad, like, he's killing half the people in the universe. But also, like, he's trying to, his motive is good. Like, he wants to, his motive for it is a good thing, I guess. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get at. And that's what kind of what, like, you don't want it to happen, but you're like, well, like, he could save a lot of lives too, just because he's ending a lot of lives. Life would be better for so many people and so many other planets. That's kind of where it goes. And then, like, obviously the heroes are like, well, no, that's still wrong. You shouldn't kill half the people. They'll have to figure it out. That's just how life goes. Like, you know, like, and then obviously Thanos wins that. Spoiler alert. Sorry if you haven't seen it. And then, yeah. And then that's just a really, really good movie. Just really impactful. Like, it's just a long-lasting, from this first scene to the last, it's just fun to watch. It's just a lot of action-packed sequences. And there's not a lot of filler. There's not like, ugh, my gosh, are we going to get through this? Like, I'm kind of, like, if you watch that movie, even rewatching it today, you're like, oh my gosh. Ton of action scenes, very, very fun to watch. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a good movie to watch. And again, it ties all these movies together, which is what the MCU does so well. Tying the movies together. And again, not every movie they tied, like the Incredible Hulk, that was just kind of a one-off. Really didn't do much else with it. Like they was just like, ugh, it's out there, like that movie's not great. But but they're just tied the movies all up together. So yeah, and then we get to Endgame. In Endgame, the first half of it's like, well, it's all right, like they ain't doing much. They're just kind of like going back in time, like, and again, I think that's good. I think they're going back in time to these like kind of moments in time, kind of bringing like kind of rewarding and showing all like these lifelong fans of the MCU, like, hey, this is how far we come. This is what we've done. It's just kind of a little nostalgic trip, and it's still fun to watch. Like, again, at the end of the day, it's not abhorrent. It's just not on rewatch. It's like, okay, like, like it's not the greatest. But the second half of the movie, once Thanos gets there, perfect freaking payoff. Everything about that last scene is just about perfect. The only thing I could say is like the original Avengers didn't really get as much screen time as you would have wanted. I think everybody can agree with that. Like you want to see those original Avengers kind of showing off their full power. But again, Natasha died. Then Hulk was also injured. So you really only had like Hawkeye, Iron Man, Captain America. It's just kind of sad that kind of the two of the almost the main people are gone now, which kind of sucks. But it's not, again, it was a good payoff. And again, yeah, it was just a good movie. Like, let's be honest, it's a great ending to an amazing series of movies. In that final scene where Captain America is like fighting and he like never gives up. He's about to fight Thanos with half a shield. Oh, and then he gets a call and they all come. Oh, just absolute cinema. That is absolute freaking cinema at the end of the day. So yeah, like, I mean, the MCU does so many things so well. And then we get to post Endgame. And you start off with a decent movie. Spider-Man Homecoming. Pretty good movie. I'm not going to hate on it. It's a good movie. I mean, it doesn't do anything wrong. It definitely introduces the character of Spider-Man very well. I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he does a really good job as both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. But yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoyed watching that movie. And then you get to Spider-Man No Way, or Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home. That is not my favorite movie. Just not my favorite movie. It was a lot of like, I don't know, filler. It wasn't the greatest movie. Like, let's be honest, it doesn't compete with prime MCU. And then you get to Spider-Man No Way Home, and again, that's just a payoff for all Spider-Man's fans of the past. And I guess kind of does the same thing as Endgame does. It's just a good payoff for all Spider-Man fans, seeing all these Spider-Man come together, these villains. It's just a lot of fun to watch at the end of the day. So yeah, and then you get to, there's a lot of bad in there. Let's be honest. There's a lot of bad in those roots. Some of those branches that are growing are dying now on that tree. They're just like, and Marvel just didn't even know what to do, and they just couldn't make really a good movie. Let's be straight up honest here. Like, none of their movies that were coming out were even halfway decent to watch. And some of the concepts of the movies that were coming out were like, oh, this is a good movie. Oh, that could work out really, really well. Like, so many things that they were doing, I was like, oh my, like, this could be really interesting. And the movie comes out, and it's like, are we serious right now? Are we serious? Not good. It was just not good at the end of the day. Let's be freaking honest right now. Just not very good. But yeah, I mean, then you get to now. You get the Thunderbolts. I've talked about my thoughts on this movie. I think it's so overrated in so many ways. It doesn't connect any storylines together. Again, they want it to be like a soft reboot, and they kind of connect storylines together, but not really well. And these characters aren't like really big characters like Iron Man or Thor or the Hulk or even Natasha. Like, they're Natashas. They're just all Black Widows, like legitimately. And I hate how they're all basically like super soldiers. That's stupid. They all kind of have the same ability. It just makes me a little bit upset. And then Sentry is just kind of forced in the movie. If he wasn't there, the movie wouldn't really be that much different, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the Thunderbolts anymore. It's just not my favorite movie. I think it's really overrated. But yeah, and then so with the Fantastic Four coming out here this week, I'm excited for that movie. I think it's going to do a lot of things right. I think it's going to bring the MCU kind of back to those glory days. And I think that is the true soft reset they kind of need. And then you have the new Spider-Man movie coming out next year. You have Doomsday coming out next year. You have a lot of really good things coming out next year for the MCU. And I think it's going to definitely come back to its glory days of like what it should be. And tying these storylines together and actually building something off those storylines. And then now you have DC, which is looking really good too. And I think that's going to force Marvel to be like, oh, maybe we should have re-signed James Gunn. Maybe not fired him for making great movies. So yeah, I do think I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I'll probably make my own video, another video on this. But I'm going to talk about the future of the MCU versus the DCU. And I think the DC is going to come out on top. Because again, James, and I said this before, Marvel's better at tying in, kind of forcing their creators into like, hey, we need to put this in there. We need to put this in there. And we need to put this in there. Kind of like in credit scenes, putting characters in certain scenarios. Like Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and James Gunn didn't really want that. So he just kind of like wrote it out. And then Marvel didn't like that. But James Gunn, he's just making sure, like, hey, the movies are going to be good. I want the movies to be good. And not really have to tie in with each other. But they're, again, that's the thing. Like, he's kind of built this universe with Superman. Like, you have the Green Lantern, and you have Hawkgirl, and you have these characters in here, sprinkled in here, that you know could have their own movies and could build this universe where a bigger threat comes around, and they have to save the day. And I really like that. But I really wish they would have included like somebody else, like even like Wonder Woman. And Supergirl was another, I guess Supergirl was another girl that kind of threw in there. But like, they didn't really have to. You know what I mean? I guess I missed that. But yeah. But they also said in the movie that Superman was the last survivor of Krypton. And then they throw Supergirl in there. Yeah. Whatever. So yeah, that's really about it. And yeah. And as always, have a great day.